Planned Parenthood understands that abortion stigma can make you feel isolated and scared. Listening to one another is how we build strong and supportive communities. That's why Planned Parenthood is sharing stories of resilience and hope from real people who've had abortions. Let's help create a world where everyone can get the care they need. Learn more at plannedparenthood.com/endstigma.
Come celebrate at the Army Birthday Festival on June 10th at the National Army Museum in Alexandria, Virginia. Enjoy food trucks, vehicle displays, outdoor games, and more. Don't miss special performances by the Army Band, a military working dog demonstration, and the parachute jump by the U.S. Army Golden Knights. It's all happening Saturday, June 10th at the National Army Museum, minutes from I-95. Admission to the festival and museum are free, so get your tickets while they last. All details are at usarmymuseum.org. That's usarmymuseum.org.
Hello. From Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. We're celebrating Pride Month with icons, supreme queens of queer culture. Some are household names. Others are a little more behind the scenes. All defied social norms and influenced generations of people to be unapologetically themselves. Today we're talking about someone who's seen as an early and important gender-nonconforming public figure. After an impressive career as a spy and diplomat, she lived as a woman despite facing public scrutiny. Let's talk about Chevalier D'Eon. On October 5th, 1728, Chevalier D'Eon was born Charles Geneviève Louis Auguste André Timothy D'Eon de Beaumont. Today, she's known by the French title for Knight, Chevalier. Her family was aristocratic but also poor and lived in the Burgundy region of France. During the Chevalier's lifetime, the language around gender nonconformity was different. There's some evidence that she claimed she faced family pressure to live as a man in her early life. And there were also very public rumors about her gender identity. Some even placed bets on it. When Chevalier D'Eon began dressing as a woman publicly later in life, she faced ridicule in the form of crude cartoons, and her political status and career were stripped away. It's hard to know exactly how she felt about her gender at the time, and her story is complicated. So we're going to refer to the Chevalier by the pronouns she used at the end of her life. To understand more about this later part of her life, however, we're going to start her story before she lived openly as a woman. From a young age, Chevalier D'Eon proved to be an excellent student and a skilled writer. The Chevalier attended law school and secured a place in the French civil service. She became the secretary to the ambassador to Russia and spent time at the Russian royal court, all of which were roles only men could attain. In Russia, Chevalier D'Eon likely experienced Empress Elizabeth's metamorphosis balls, where it was encouraged for men to don dresses and women to wear more masculine attire. Though she had an official public role, Chevalier D'Eon also had a secret mission. King Louis XV had tapped her to join Le Secret du Roi, or the King's Secret. It was a network of spies created by the king to forward his political ambitions in foreign countries like Russia. It was so hush-hush that many top members of the French Foreign Ministry had no idea it existed. When the 7 Years' War broke out between France and Great Britain and their allies, Chevalier D'Eon was called back to fight as a soldier. In 1762, the Chevalier was sent to London to help negotiate the Treaty of Paris, which brought an end to the war. This savvy as a diplomat earned her admittance to the Order of St. Louis, and she officially gained the title of Chevalier. France had lost a lot in the treaty, all of its North American colonies, and had a huge amount of debt from the war. King Louis wanted revenge, so he tasked his secret service, including Chevalier D'Eon, with concocting a plot to invade Britain. The king gave Chevalier D'Eon an official job as an ambassador to the British court, and a secret mission to scout around for witnesses in British defenses and find potential French allies in Parliament. But Chevalier D'Eon quickly ran into problems with her assignment. She often clashed with other French civil service, and she also had expensive tastes. She was reprimanded for importing too much wine on the crown's dime. Eventually, the Chevalier's insolence was too much. The king ordered her back to France, and she knew she risked being sent to the infamous Bastille prison. so she refused to return home, and the British foreign minister declared she could remain in London as a private citizen. King Louis was furious. His government attempted to kidnap the Chevalier and drag her back to France by force. But Chevalier D'Eon pushed back, threatening to publicize her secret mission for the king. She even published a scandalous book with letters from her time as a diplomat. It was just enough to embarrass the king, and she had plenty more she could make public. The king agreed to pay her a yearly pension in exchange for her silence, and she could stay in London. The Chevalier's public feud with the French crown made her a minor celebrity in England. Around this time, rumors began to fly about her gender. Soon, the speculation became so widespread that bookkeepers were organizing bets. Chevalier D'Eon had to hire guards to escort her out of the house because people had started trying to tear off her clothes in public. By the mid-1770s, King Louis XV had died, and his son, Louis XVI, assumed the throne. He had a renewed interest in making the secret du roi disappear. So in 1775, a government representative set out to negotiate with Chevalier D'Eon. She confessed to him that she was indeed a woman. As part of the negotiations, the king made it clear that the Chevalier D'Eon was to return any and all papers about her spy work, and she must live publicly as a woman. She accepted and returned to France. In 1777, at the age of 49, she was formally presented at the court of Versailles, reborn in the eyes of the French public in a powdered wig and an elaborate gown made by Marie Antoinette's dressmaker. But Chevalier D'Eon's public life as a woman also meant an end to her political ambitions. The French government wouldn't let her fight in the American Revolution. When she continued to ask to form an all-female battalion, they arrested her. So Chevalier D'Eon went back to London. She was skilled with the fencing sword and earned money by staging duels in salons around the city, always choosing to fight in a gown. She also became deeply invested in early feminist thought and curated one of the largest collections of feminist works in Europe at the time. Some feminists accepted her in return. Mary Wollstonecraft pointed to the Chevalier as a shining example of what women could achieve when given the opportunities men were always afforded. After the French Revolution erupted in 1789, Chevalier D'Eon lost her pension, and she fell into poverty. When she died in 1810, at the age of 81, she had been living as a woman for more than 3 decades. In the centuries since her death, historians have continued to reevaluate Chevalier D'Eon's life story. Some believe her life as a woman was a calculated political move to help her get back in the French government's good graces. Others believe she was simply seeking to live authentically in a time before transgender identity was widely understood or accepted. All month, we're highlighting icons. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow. Planned Parenthood fights every day so all people can get the care and education they need to live full, healthy lives. That means having the freedom to control your own body and make decisions for your future, including whether to have an abortion. Abortion storytellers are important. Their powerful narratives, each as unique as they are, reject silence and shame. That's why Planned Parenthood is building a platform to share stories, busting stigma and breaking down barriers to essential health care, one voice at a time. Together, we can help create a future where all people are free to make their own decisions, no matter what. Learn more at PlannedParenthood.com/EndStigma.
It's one of those days where your to-dos are all over the place. On the list, a teeth cleaning at 6 a.m. Returning the not-so-fake cowhide rug at 9. Grabbing custom party hats for Jane's half-birthday at lunch. Scooping up a vintage stereo from Marketplace in Bethesda at First to Show Up with Cash p.m. And picking up Cousin Rick at Dulles at 3 a.m. Zip if, odd errands at odd hours. With Zipcar, you can book cars near you in D.C. anytime you want, with gas included. Which makes days like this, well, just another day. Join and drive in minutes at Zipcar.com.
I'm Israel Gutierrez. I'm hosting a new podcast called 4 Years of Heat. It takes you to Miami from 2010 to 2014, when LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade set the NBA ablaze.
You know, have an opportunity to team up with the best trio to ever play the game of basketball.
We'll take you inside those 4 monumental years with behind-the-scenes access and insight about one of the greatest teams ever assembled. 4 Years of Heat on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.